Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I can see we've already got people in the chat. Thank you very much for joining us on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day, and this man in a box is the baby. Good morning, babe.
Good morning.
A couple of comments in the chat. My Dixie wrecked. Always gets me. It got them clearly. Do you know, that was the best 1 pence I've ever spent. I did a few on that day. I can't remember what the others were, but they didn't really get it. And the full clip, you can see Dan going, my Dix, he wrecked? My Dix, I don't get it. 2 out of 10 or something, he says at the end. But then you could just see Jack sat there like, I think it means my Dix, he wrecked? My Dix, he wrecked? My Dix literally just sat there upstairs in the office above the studio wetting myself. Best penny I have ever spent. Even then, like as it was on, I was chuckling to Bibi because obviously we're chatting as the countdown's running down, and I'm talking through there, so it still gets me, still tickles me. Bibi has to listen to me though. That's one thing that you guys don't get to listen to. Bibi has to listen to me in his ears as that countdown video is going on, like narrating over the things. The Josie bit, that or the bit at the end that I always do to Bibi is that the liquor? Oh. But then obviously, that's it. I over-exaggerate it. So Bibi sat there with me going, But anyway. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day. And as I've said already, this is the bib in a box, and we are bringing you the Ice Cream Scoop. That's our daily dose of content from the games industry, news from the games industry, and beyond, everything. If you were in the chat, please feel free to get involved. Obviously, you guys have the opportunity to give us your thoughts on our thoughts, and that's important because we turn this into a podcast, a video podcast, which we upload to YouTube. That goes live around an hour after we get off airs. But those guys get the benefits of having on-demand content. They don't get to interact with us live in the show. You guys do. So obviously, please feel free to give us your input into the news that we're talking about. Then a little bit later on the day, we turn this into an audio podcast that goes live on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and SoundCloud. So if you can't watch us live, you can watch a video. And if you can't watch a video, but you can listen to stuff, then we can get right in your ear holes each and every single day on all of those 4 podcast services. How are you feeling this morning, babe?
I am feeling spectacular. I'm feeling. To be fair, today I actually feel when I woke up this morning, it was like straight. Turn the alarm off, instead of snoozing it or anything. I kind of just got out of bed naturally without feeling like shit. But yeah, today, I'm feeling good today. What about yourself?
I have the nasalness, as you can keep hearing. As you have been hearing whilst we've been off air. I keep having to blow my nose, so you may see me kind of like reaching up here, and if I do that, so what I just said then was that's me turning the microphone off, but you can't hear. So yeah, that's essentially what I'm doing. So if things do go quiet, I will try and make sure that for all of our audio listeners that don't get that, I'm kind of off screen clearing out the sinuses. Bibi will usually be doing, it was shouting loud words like he has to do, because the rules are when number one pirate drops in that emote in the chat, Bibi has to respond with,
oh, hello.
There we go. Boom. The Just thing was great. I remember trying to get her to sing it and just being like, what the fuck is she doing? I missed that one. I didn't see that one live. But we have links in the chat. Exclamation mark socials dropped in from Connor. Feel free to hit follow on all of those social media accounts. You will get access to all of our news, all of our content when we go live each and every single day. Particularly the Twitter one at the top. If you don't have those links to hand, just search for Ice Cream Uploads. So that's the name across all of our channels. But on Twitter, I've just retweeted again this morning. We have a competition where we're giving away a bunch of Resident Evil merch. Number one pirate with the host. Thank you very much. Each and every single morning. I'm going back over myself. Yeah, we are giving away 3 pieces of Resident Evil 2 merch. We've had to kind of like keep Bibi away from them because he keeps trying to get them on. A few times we've had to take him out of his bag as he's on the way out of the building, but it is what it is.
It's good gear. I also noticed that there was a comment from Baxter as well. Good morning, good sir.
Good morning.
Will we ever see Pez on the Nintendo Switch? I hope so. I mean, we've mentioned it a few times on this podcast. Even if there was to make a port of the mobile version over to it, so I can actually play with the Joy-Cons rather than my massive sausage fingers smudging all over the screen. and not being able to play properly. If there was to just port the mobile version, that'd be great. At a minimum, I mean, the only football game that I've got on my Switch is FIFA 18, and we all know how that went. Connor will definitely know how that went. But yeah, I do love playing FIFA on it. It's decent. People still play online on it, so I can still find a game whenever I want to. But yeah, I'd love them to port it over to the Switch. I don't think it's ever going to happen though.
Also, have any of you played Grid Autosport on the Switch? Some game that, lads. Thanks for reading my comment. I've played very, very few games on the Switch, although I have started pretty high in terms of, obviously, the likes of Mario Kart, everyone has, but then pretty much straight into Luigi's Mansion, which was highly influenced by Asim's video, which we've showed on the stream a few times now. But yeah, other than that, I've not played too much. Have you played Grid Autosport, babe?
I haven't played it on the Switch. I've played quite a bit of Grid across different different consoles. I played it quite a lot on my Xbox 360, and I also played it on my my Nintendo DS back in the day when I was repping my DS. Decent games. I haven't played the one on Switch, though. I heard it's very, very good.
Love the Switch. It's become my main console, says Baxter. Well, we have a bit of content on the Switch a little bit later on, but we're going to start off with something a little different. We've kind of teased it on our going live tweet on Twitter, so you might guess what it is. If not, let's bring it on screen for you now. Oh, thank you very much, Baxter, for the follow. Much appreciated, dude. So this is the article written by Eurogamer by Richard Leadbetter, and it says the Xbox Series X rear port setup has been revealed in a new prototype leak, and this time it looks genuine. We actually featured this on stream yesterday. Enix dropped in the chat and told us as it was breaking that someone had put it out, put pictures of the back of the console out, and then someone else had actually used those serial numbers and details to register that Xbox Series X on their account, and it worked. So the tagline here says this time it looks genuine. I would assume if it doesn't go into that sort of detail, then yeah, we can assume it's genuine from that too. But anyway, jumping in the article, it says new images of the Xbox Series X's casing have appeared online, giving us our strongest indication yet of what kind of input and output ports are found on the rear of the machine. The legacy HDMI input from the TV era. Oh, there we go. They've written this for us. Wow, you go, guys. TV. So the legacy HDMI input from the TV era is gone, replaced with a rather more mundane arrangement of USB ports, Toslink, Ethernet cable, and a curious non-identified mystery port. The images first surfaced on NeoGAF with acknowledgement that this is the real deal, coming via Brad Sams? I can't even read that. I'm gonna see what that is. Thurrett is a website. I get it. Okay, so Brad Sams written for Thurrett. I get it. Okay, I'll start the sentence again then. So the images first surfaced on NeoGAF with acknowledgement that this is the real deal, coming via Thurrett's Brad Sams, a site and an author well known for deeply embedded sources within Microsoft. Adding a little extra weight to the validity of this source is that a Twitter user amusingly claimed the machine on his Microsoft account.
You're a cunt.
It's all right, lads. Just because he's claimed it on his account, you don't have to go like that. God. So a Twitter user amusingly claimed the machine on his Microsoft account. That should be via the clearly visible serial number. With all of this in mind, the likelihood is that this is a genuine look at an Xbox Series X casing from new angles as opposed to an elaborately fake render or 3D printing. We see further air intakes, though not quite as large as I imagined, along with a standard figure 8 power input, Ethernet input, and dual USB super speed ports, Toslink audio, and an HDMI 2.1 output. There's also a Kensington Lock 2 for the security conscious amongst us. However, the nature of the port to the left of the HDMI output remains a mystery. Brad Sam suggests that it's some kind of a diagnostic port that may not appear on final hardware. This unit is clearly marked as a prototype. However, although purely speculation on our behalf, we wouldn't be surprised at all if this eventually turns out to be an expandable storage bay for for PCI express drives. I always got NVMe. So yeah, basically. However, although purely speculation on our behalf, we wouldn't be surprised at all if this eventually turns out to be an expandable storage bay for PCI Express drives, perhaps encased in some kind of stick-like cartridge configuration, an idea mooted by our very own John Linneman when the Series X was first unveiled. The dimensions looked right, and it would provide an easy plug-and-play solution to a serious challenge posed by the move to ultra-fast solid-state storage. In a world where games are now frequently over 100 gigabytes inside, how do you deliver a cost-effective console that's still capable of housing a substantial game collection? This may well be the next-gen iteration of the slot-in hard drive idea that we saw Microsoft explore with the Xbox 360. So with prototype Xbox Series X hardware now leaking like this, hopefully we'll get to see something more official from Microsoft soon. Bring that up on screen. Xbox shows its rear. Whoever that is, a lad. It was me. Sorry. Definitely needs played on stream after. Oh, okay. Do you know? Since we were speaking about it before, there was chat going on where Pirate. Did you actually not know what that song was, Pirate? So yeah, Bastille Pompeii, as Connor says. When we started the show, we were talking about the intro, and Asim mentioned the "My Dixie Wrecked" comment, and then Connor went on to talk about Bastille's Pompeii being sung by Jose. So let me just bring up the clip. Bringing up the clip.
I was left around devices. Many days fell away with nothing to show. Yeah, you see, I kind of know it. Yeah, I know it.
There you go. So yeah, when you hear it now you've had my world-class vocals over the top of it. Pirate's going to be sat there like, bam, that's it, it's Bastille Pompeii. If only Graham had been there to sing it in such a harmonious, melodious way. There we go. Sup, you sexy slags? What have I missed? Says Big Zombie Monkey. Is it me, or is the volume low on the stream? Does anybody else think the volume's low?
I'll turn mine up slightly. My little gain knob on the back.
I mean, we did turn it down the other day because Bibby's audio was quite off compared to mine, so we tweaked with settings. If it is, so if Bibby's side has normalised again and things need turning up for everyone, just let me know. I can boost the audio at this end.
Could slightly go for both.
I had no idea what Jesse was trying to sing / hum, mainly because it sounds not like it. It could go up slightly, yeah. Okay.
Easy
peasy. Yeti mic. Is that loud for me? And then Bibby say stuff.
Bound for the bound for the reload.
Mr. DJ, give me that reload. Okay, Xbox Series X reports. Do you need 27 HDMI ports on your Xbox first of all? Bib.
No. I always thought it was weird on the back of the Xbox One because they've got 2 HDMI ports on the back of that, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the TV ports, where they wanted to use the Xbox as kind of a TV tuner. So you had the port in, but there was a port out as well, or something, or so you could stick your Sky or whatever into your Xbox and then feed that through to the TV. Yeah.
Well, that little PCI thing that there was mentioning about before that could potentially be used. I also brought this up about 2 months ago, saying that do you reckon there'll ever be a console where it's just easy to take parts out and swap them whenever you need to? So if you can buy the budget one, but then if you come into a little bit of money, you don't want to spend £600 on the main one or whatever. You can go and spend like £200 and put a new part in, like a new bit of RAM or a new processor or a new graphics card or something like that. So, I didn't want to say I was right or out, but
nailed it.
We're getting there. But no, I'm glad that we're actually seeing a lot. Like Xbox had showing their hand quite a lot compared to the PlayStation. I also read something this morning. It was on Twitter, so people chat a lot of shit on there, including myself. That apparently the new PlayStation 5 is only going to have a 1 terabyte hard drive.
Interesting. That doesn't surprise me because we've only just got. I think have we got 2 terabyte PS4s now? Actually, I can't remember. Or are we only
you can put your own 2 terabyte in there. I don't think you can actually buy one though. I think the biggest you can get is the 1 terabyte Pros, isn't it?
Yeah, for some reason I thought there may have been a 2, but if I know you can always upgrade it yourself, but I think in the past we've kind of had stuff. The next gen kind of starts at the top end of the last gen, so that doesn't surprise me. And we've always had not enough space. I mean, 1 terabyte is a lot of space in theory.
Yeah.
But if you've got a game taking up 100 gig straight off, then and they're pushing everyone towards digital, you'll easily get your console filled up.
Yeah. I mean, I've still got my base PS4, like my day one PS4. I've still got my day one controller. I mean, it needs to be put in a glass case because it's like it's on its last legs kind of thing. But I've still got the 500 gigabyte one, and I don't know how I've managed to survive this long with just 500 gigabytes. It's basically complete a game, delete it, complete a game, delete it.
That was
If I
kind
wanted
of
to
me.
go. Yeah, but the thing is now, like, I had to get rid of Battlefield, which I was actually really enjoying on my PS4, so that I could stream GTA 5 again on my PS4. So if I want to play Battlefield, I've got to re-download all 80 gigs of it, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, I do need to get a new a new hard drive. But at this point, is there much point with me just
exactly.
playing on my PC all the time?
Well, I've recently, as in just over 6 months ago, got a Pro. So that extra 500 gig of hard drive is just kind of like, wow, I could do stuff. Well, that's kind of useful because I had like a Spider-Man game save started, a Red Dead game save started, a God of War game save started, a Horizon Zero Dawn game save started, and you just kind of like, I don't want to get rid of it because I know I can upload the save to the cloud, but I'm always dubious because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I remember doing that with GTA because it's such a massive game. It's uploading all my saves to the cloud, deleting it, and then the next time I downloaded it, it just kind of like brought none of it down, kind of thing. It didn't quite work properly. I was like, oh. So yeah. I wonder if the future they may release their own OS for PC. That essentially turns whatever builds you've made can run the Microsoft OS instead of Windows, essentially letting you build your own console. Not anytime soon, but I could see that in the future. Microsoft. I bought a 2TB hard drive when I bought my Pro. First thing I did was install that. Best decision I've made. I did that with a PS3. So I bought a mega hard drive for the PS3, but yeah, when it got to the PS4, I was just like, I'm pretty much playing PUBG all the time anyway, so I can just be a bit better with my space management and save myself a few quid. It's not kind of it's kind of lasted for me for the generation actually. There's a couple of points. I mean, I don't think 500 gig was enough. I think a terabyte is enough. I'm kind of alright with a terabyte. I can manage that one. But bringing this Xbox rear back on the screen. So 2 USB ports, an Ethernet connection, the power cable, HDMI, the Toslink, aka digital optical port, and then the gap in the middle is where we could be looking at potential PCI port for data / storage expansion. Interesting. I wonder what the what's the little hole halfway up? Oh, that's the security key jobby locking thingy, whatever it's called. As you can tell.
Yeah, again, with Microsoft are showing the hand early doors, which we like to see. It's interesting that we haven't seen much from the PlayStation side of things yet.
Well, they're not showing their hand. Other people are showing their hand for them.
Well, yeah. Fair point.
And redeeming the Xbox off their console. Sucker! Imagine that, just like on your account somewhere. They're going to have like a tick in a database that says this person owns an Xbox 360, an Xbox Elite or whatever, 360 Elite, plus an Xbox One S, plus an Xbox Series X. To be one person just there like, anyone else? No? Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of getting antsy now in terms of it's all. Not for any fault of PlayStation. You kind of touched on it then accidentally with your wording. Xbox have shown their hand now. We want to see what PlayStation are going to do. Xbox kind of haven't shown their hand, so obviously someone else has. But all of that, the fact that we've seen what the Xbox looks like, the fact that we've now got actual pictures of it that people have verified by registering on their accounts and things like that. The only thing we've got for a PS5 is a name. We now have a slogan. It's time to play. Plus, we have one game that we got some footage from the very start of last year, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm getting to the point where I'm like, just give me more freaking content. That's not PlayStation's fault. It's kind of a good thing, really. The desire to have more content is building, which is good. I mean, I want to see more from PlayStation. It just means that we get a lot of you start to get on the point where there's negativity. If PlayStation just come out of nowhere with this event on the 5th of February, if that's not confirmed by the way, then that will settle stuff. But if that is going to happen, I think putting something out, say, in the next couple of days or something, saying, save the date, sort of PlayStation announce, blah, 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 first look, whatever, then it just starts to settle people down because people know. It's this not knowing that starts to, like, kill you, so to speak. Well,
what I was thinking about anyway is what conference was it? It was either CES or something that AMD was doing, where they brought a prototype out of the Xbox One, and they said, nope, that's not it. They've made that themselves, or whatever it was that they ended up making, and then Microsoft was like, nope, that's not us. Blah 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 blah. Clearly, obviously, that's what they based it on, and this is a real one that went out there too. So we have seen. Fair enough, they may not have shown their hands themselves. Sorry, fair enough, we've seen them, but they have technically shown their hand, because this is now out there. We know what it looks like, but nobody knows what the PlayStation looks like. Like, how have they managed to keep that under wraps so much compared to Microsoft?
Yeah, that's.
You reckon it's just luck? That the fact that these people have managed to get hold of the Xbox somehow, or do you reckon it's literally just the PlayStation has never left a particular room which has got Wi-Fi blockers and signal blockers all over the place?
I reckon it's probably it could be somewhere between the two. I think it's probably likely that the fact that someone has guessed what the Xbox would look like in that AMD, because all AMD did was went to a software site where someone's gone, here's a render I've done of an Xbox, use it if you want it. So they just took that. You don't get, you literally will just get people that are good at 3D that use it as a portfolio site to show, here's my take on 3D graphics. I haven't put that side by side with this, so I can't remember. I know the front of it was kind of pre-shown anyway in the Xbox stuff. The back of it, I'm not sure. The fact that AMD then came out and said, yeah, it's not official Xbox stuff, it's fan-made stuff, and we just used it to kind of show what we'd kind of be looking at. The fact that we've now got here with this, though, and we haven't with PlayStation, it could be the fact that the PlayStation isn't out in the wild like the Xbox is. But also, I mean, the Xbox has been shown. So Xbox, they've shown it last year. They can go, okay, well, we can now start shipping prototypes, whereas PlayStation, they haven't shown it. We've seen leaked dev kit images, but that's probably a case of PlayStation have got all of their PS5 prototypes or early access consoles or test decks, whatever. They've got them sat waiting to be shipped. They're just waiting for the image to be out there before they send it. Probably what Xbox has said, though, is these Xbox prototypes are for your use only and shouldn't be put on social media. However, the internet has shown that people are dicks. So we've seen the PS5 dev kit, we've seen the Xbox prototype. So someone somewhere is all about that clout life. So they're gonna throw it out there. Chances are Sony have gone ham as fuck with lawyers. Yeah, probably. It's probably. I reckon Microsoft will have essentially done the same. They're probably looking at this now, as we mentioned yesterday when we first looked at this on stream. That serial number will be tied to a specific product. That product will be part of a huge asset register, particularly when it's a prototype. Xbox, Microsoft will know who that product was intended for. Microsoft lawsuits been knocking at doors. Exactly. If they're not knocking at that person's door already, I imagine they will have done. Phone calls, subpoenas, whatever. Either this person's getting strung up because he doesn't realise how easy it is to trace back, or he never got it. It was intercepted, and someone else has gone, well, let's use this opportunity or whatever. I think that's probably what it is. I think the fact that we haven't seen the PlayStation prototypes is probably because they haven't revealed the branding, and there's potentially much more serious implications. If you're leaking the back of an Xbox, it's like, oh, that's nice, and it kind of loses its relevance because once the console's out, oh great, I'm not asked about what cables and plugs and connections. Whereas getting the first look at a console and sharing that before the brand does, that's a much bigger implication. You can't take back the first look at a console. So yeah, that's probably why we're not seeing any Sony stuff. Why don't Microsoft make a different shaped dev box for each person they send one? Next console, the person responsible gets a dick shaped dev kit. Oh, lovely. Do you know what? I'm on board with that idea. I mean, costs for development. I mean, worth it. Absolutely worth it. Let's do it. But anyway, let's move forward, ladies and gentlemen. As I creatively and slyly, without you guys even noticing, nod and prod Bibby to do some padding while I change the title on screen. You don't even notice that I've just said that. That's how good this is. That's how professional and stylish this is.
Yeah, so sat in the office, I'm going to be doing, I imagine, the the induction into what's in store for you today on Twitter. You've seen it the last couple of days. It's just been Bibby no mates sat on this side, trying to tell you what you've got coming up today. For Monday, Bibby one take. Tuesday, we had a nice little high five after 17 takes. Yesterday, it wasn't the best. But yeah, hopefully today will be a little bit better.
I think you just started too high because
I did.
Admittedly, my first take was my best take. The one where you lobbed your pen across the room. This was an outtake, by the way. You guys didn't get to see it on social media. We started it. So my first take was like nailed on, but then Bibby just kind of went blah, 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 straight away, just threw his pen.
No, because I started pissing myself because you had what you were going to say, and we said, right, okay, well, I'll do the links, and you went, well, Bibby, what have we done today? I was like, oh. I wasn't expecting the question. So I just completely fucking lost it.
I threw you a link. God damn.
Yeah.
But yeah,
absolutely lost it. And then some twat in there was stirring. I don't know what.
A barrel.
That was it. Yeah.
With an oar. It's like someone was making brew in the kitchen, and you could hear the ting ting, but it was like the loudest, reverberatingest, echoiest sort of like thud. It sounded like someone had got like a paddle from a canoe, stuck it in a barrel, and started like clink 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 clink.
Yeah. Is that stirring a well?
But yeah, I think I did the same thing though, because I nailed it on that first one. You got your first take the day before in the can. I got my first take. Obviously, we didn't use it, and then after that, we both just went the brr, brr,
yeah, blue screen.
Brian Burton, brr, 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 brr. But anyway. Tappy tap 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 tap. Yesterday was poor. The whole stream or the link?
No. My stupid attempt at thinking, yeah, I'm gonna nail it first take, and I was just about to start talking, and then Connor started going. He just lifted my charger up and went, "This is my fucking charger. You robbed my charger." I'm like, "No, it's not your charger. You're just giving me shit," and it threw me off again. So I'm blaming him for that one.
God's sake, we should get Connor to do today's.
I agree. Yes.
So
be class.
Comments in the chat. We've got BK Connor running his mouth. He did a 6-minute take and was like, "That'll do." So Connor's in the chat saying he knows how it's done. Who votes? Let's get your votes in. Who votes for Connor to do today's link on social media? For those of you that don't know what that is, when we go live later on and put all of the links out, we have a little bit of a video on Twitter that goes, "Hi, these are what we covered. Join us in the video." Blah 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 blah. I'm a head out, says Connor. Do it, says Pirate. Okay. So far, we've got one vote that qualifies, so 100% behind Connor. Okay, that's 2 votes, same person, but it still counts. Big Zot and Boone calls 0890 number and makes a vote. Boom!
Yeah,
there we
absolutely.
Go. But who did he vote for? Though we don't have the results.
He voted for Connor.
Oh, okay, nice, boom, yay! What's a rumba? It's like a dance. Hey. Anyway, I apologise. I take it back. I'm sorry, guys. I've let myself down. I've let you all down. Jumping in to our next news article. There we go. As you can see on the screen, crash in Smash. I'll bring the article on screen for you now. Crash Bandicoot is rumoured to be Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's next character. This is written by Sherif Saed for VG247. He says, the recent reveal of Byleth, the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, has given credence to a leak from October. When Twitter user @MandyCannot leaked in October last year that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate's next DLC character would be Fire Emblem Three Houses Byleth, few believed him. But now that Byleth has been officially confirmed for Smash, their other leaks are now being taken more seriously. At the time, MandyCannot also said that Crash Bandicoot would follow. And in there's an embedded tweet from @MandyCannot on Twitter. This is written on October 22nd, 2019. It says, Crash comes directly after the first Challenger Pack. Winky face. So, into the article again. Quote, the main reason I started posting to Twitter was to build a resume for myself. End quote. They wrote earlier this week. Open quotes again. I do not want to become out there until Crash... I did not want to become out there until Crash officially came to be with the other info. This was my last tweet regarding any leak until Crash is revealed for Fire Pack 6, end quote. There's obviously no guarantee that just because one leak / speculation turned out to be true that everything else is, so it's worth taking this information with a grain of salt. With that said, MandyCannot did correctly leak the Smash Direct's date and the fact that Mortal Kombat 11 would be at the Game Awards 2019 before this information became public. Ooh.
Again, it's going to be another massive win for Smash when and if we're taking this seriously enough that Crash is going to be coming to it. That at this point, there is no mascot or any character that's safe from being in Smash. We've seen Solid Snake, we've seen some Resident Evil characters being put in there, we've seen Pokemons, we've seen literally anything that you can think of as probably. We've seen Link being put in there from Zelda.
What? Linkin Hood from the chat?
Linkin Hood, yes. He's in Super Smash. It's a massive win. Every party wins in this scenario if your character's getting put in there.
My character's just been put in there as
your IP.
Number one pirate has just clicked me dancing and put it in the chat. Cheers, pirate.
What would your combat be closest to if there was to make a Graham Day character to put in Smash? What do you think would be your closest character combat stance or use of, like, if you like? Would you be like Ricky Hatton? Would you be a puncher? Would you be a boxer? Or would you be like, I don't know, Snorlax, and you're just lying down and shit?
I'd love the idea of being Snorlax, just chilling out at the back. All right, lads. No, it's fine. You fight amongst yourselves. So, yeah, I'll just...
I'll just chill here. What would your ideal combat... what is the word for it? What would you... Yeah, combat.
Style?
Is it? Yeah, combat style. What would your ideal combat style be? Thank you for saving me there, because I was going down a rabbit hole. I had no idea where I was coming out of.
Just throwing random words out. Strategy, move set. Put Bibby in Smash, then we can all smash Bibby. Win-win.
Oh, great stuff.
Graham would be well home just swinging it about. That's my combat style. Thank you very much, Big Zombie Monkey. It'd be just like Mega Wang.
Wang.
Although, in reality, I'd probably have to get really, really, really close to people. Okay, come a bit closer. Come a bit closer.
I call this one the Peck-a-Peck. I don't know what my fighting style would like to be. Like, I'd like the thought of being like Link, where I've got a sword and shield. I think that would be pretty cool. But like Bowser as well, it'd probably be Bowser style, like really aggressive. What everybody that's in the chat, what would your fighting stance be if you could pick a combat style? What would yours be? It could be from anything. It could be Spyro, so you could fly and fire out flames. You could be I don't know.
Well, I would
Tigger, and
that's it. I've got my style. I was just looking around for inspiration, and because I'm sat in my room and there's loads of PUBG bits around, I've got my inspiration. I would be just some useless knobhead that starts with absolutely nothing, and then as the fight goes on, either I do some good moves or I get some damage. I'd slowly start upgrading. I'd get a vest, so I start to receive less damage. I'd get my level 3 helmet, which you can see just there, so I take even less damage. And then when I get to the point where I'm really good, my care package would drop in. And then I'd be like, arm in your face. So that's what it is. That's me.
Solid Snake will be a good one, but I've just seen Asim say Princess Peach. So basically, he wants to be rescued by a small Italian plumber. That's what we say. He needs to be rescued. Big Brother Zombie Monk says Graham would drop in, look around, and then Mega Man would be one shot, and he'd be rage quit.
Wait. So solid characters in Smash. Mega Man up first, 21. Never mind. I'm not going to say the next line.
Jesus Christ.
Because he says, "Oh shit." Oh no, God! I've said it now.
But yeah, I think I'd like Solid Snake or something like that. That would be pretty cool.
Have you got Smash for the Switch?
I have not. I've only played Smash on the Switch. I haven't actually owned it since way back. Probably on the Wii was probably the last time I played it. Actually had it myself.
So now that Crash is in Smash, would you give it a bash, or would you say it's trash? I mean, I'd play.
Oh my God, Stereo
Smash
MC
with Crash and try and give it a bash, but I mean, I play PUBG, so there's a bit of a clash, and I'd be just trash. No, out.
Yeah, he's run out his blue screen. I mean, I'm always open to get it. I'd love to have Smash. I'd love to have. I haven't even got Mario Kart. I haven't even got that at this point. So yeah, I do. I would absolutely love it. I mean, it is what it is. I was waiting for Jurin. I've seen him in the chat. I was waiting for him to comment on it. It's what just jumped into this conversation, so he may get the wrong idea of the stick. But if you're saying that you want Solid Snake and Smash Bit, he already is. No, you have got the wrong. wrong end of the stick.
Bloody
Do you know what I
hell,
mean? He
Luke.
comes in here. How is he a mod and he's coming in and getting it all wrong? Do you know what I mean? What is the point? What is the point?
Do you know what? Let's just end it now. Sorry.
No.
Sorry, guys.
I'll ask the question to you again, Luke, right? Because I know this is a question that's directly up your avenue if you get it the right way. If you was a character that got put into Smash Brothers, what would your combat style be? Would you be someone like Solid Snake? Would you like to be someone? I don't even think Spyro's in there, but we use him as an example. Would you like to be a little small dragon that can fire out flames? Would you want to be Snorlax, so you just lie there and wait for someone to attack you and then punch them off the side? I don't know. But that was the question. I know you got that completely wrong.
That's a pretty good suggestion there in the chat from Spike. I think Aloy would be a good addition from Horizon Zero Dawn, because you've got there's all sorts of things there. Like Aloy has those traps essentially where you kind of anchor the opponent to the floor, so you could essentially trap someone to the floor and then start beating the shit out of them. So essentially disabling those. Cool. That's like a disable sort of move. My style would be sumo. I'd be a hard hitter with a big jump and splash damage. Hui! Or like E Honda from Street Fighter.
But yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Right, told you I'd get the wrong end of the stick. He did. To be fair, He was
like the shitty end of the stick. He ended up coming in with that.
You got a poo stick. Do us a favour, babe. Just do some sort of movement. I'm trying to gauge whether you're stuck.
Oh God, I'm being put back on the shelf again.
No. I literally, I've got you in the studio on the screen. I'm in the picture, but no, it's fine. Yeah, on the screen to my side, it's not particularly great. On Streamlabs OBS, it looks kind of fine. If it's a bit stuttering for you, it's because I've got Salford internet and it's a bit potato. So apologies if it does look bad. So while I'd definitely be a cowardly long range character. Me too, with my big dick swinging, as Spike said in the chat. And I'm not going to give you any context for that, Jeroen. You just have to take it as it is, which is also what she said.
He'd be like, Courage the Cowardly Dog. That's what he's saying. That's what he'd like to be put in. Did you ever watch Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Let me see. Was it an orange dog?
No, it was like pink.
Pink. Yeah. I have seen it, but not very much. I'd kind of given up on. Was it Cartoon Networky kind of thing?
Yeah.
I think it was just at the sort of time where I'd kind of given up or something.
Yeah.
I was all kind of like Johnny Bravo's, Dexter's Labs and stuff. It was similar sort of time frame.
Yeah.
But it
that was like golden age for me.
No two stupid dogs. It was no two stupid dogs. That's all I'm saying. Anyone else slightly frustrated that Bibby isn't centered on the screen? I wasn't, but now you've said it. I hate you, pirate.
I can sort that out in about 3 seconds. That's not a problem. Would it make people feel better if I did that?
God damn it, Bibby.
I think I just need to.
Technically, what it would be as well is because usually what we do before we go live is I tweak stuff, because obviously we don't have a set camera setup. So we have the scoop. No. When we have the scoop like this, we're essentially kind of like either using our camera on a stick or we're mounting the camera on top of the monitors in front. But obviously those go out of the studio when we do the scoop in the studio. But then when I'm at home, they come back in, and then Josie's in there, so we're moving cameras around. Yeah. So anyway, long story short, the camera moves every time we do a stream. So usually before we go live, me and Bibby are chatting. I load him up on the screen, and then I reposition his head for the shoulder shot, and I recut the box and stuff. But today, we didn't do any of that because we were just wanting to go live. So yeah, there we go. Damn it, Bibby, center yourself.
Center myself, fool.
All I hear is excuses. God damn it, we don't need excuses. When you got a setup that looks this good, you'll take it and you'll like it. Also, by the way, if you're here, please feel free to hit follow. Anyway, let's jump into our next bit of news. After Bibby does some more expert padding on stuff.
See, I need to start writing stuff down so that we can pad appropriately. Because I feel like it just gets to these little points and I'm just kind of like blue screening or just derping out big time.
I do have a question for you, though. I do.
Oh, go on, hit me. Hit me with your best shot.
Fire away. Hit me with your best. So obviously, earlier this week, we may have announced probably the most exciting thing to ever happen on Twitch. Ice Cream Uploads Invitational 3 Triple Threat.
Yeah.
Do we, without naming names, do we have anybody locked in for the event so far?
Oh my God! Do you need a number of how many we've got locked in? Do you want a number?
Oh no, let's keep it vague. Just let's get
we're
some
keeping it
teasers
vague.
going on.
Well, I mean, now you didn't want me to put a number on that. Makes it seem like we got a lot of numbers already. Do you know what I mean? We have got some players, shall we say, in this tournament. My God, you see the amount of DMs that I've got from people who posted this out to say, "Excuse me, can I put my hat in the ring?" So yeah, we're kind of having to maybe turn people away at this point. I'm not going to say anything else more than that, but we've got the people that we've got in this tournament are absolute ballers, and I cannot wait till next week to be able to start announcing some of these players. It's going to blow your minds. I mean, we've got some special guests coming in. That's all I'm saying. That is all I'm saying. But we're trying to make it go bigger and better this time. There's stuff around now. We didn't stream for like a week in this studio purely because we was taking stuff apart so that we can do shows like this at a moment's notice. We need to move stuff around. Easy, we can do that. We can just get the camera on a stick, or we've got the camera on the tripods. If anyone's even been to this studio before, you'll know how much space we've got. We're just trying to utilize it better. So as I've watched back our previous 2 invitationals, and I think, you know what, we could do better there. We could do better there. We can include this. We can have more overlays. We can try and introduce you a lot more. We can try and get people in and around the set. So this time, I've been writing down stuff. Believe me, it's going to be mint.
Oh, and we have partnerships as well. Obviously, you will have seen on the announcement video, Nakon and GT Omega are both partnered with the event. So we will be we will announce the prizes in due course, but we will be giving away some Nakon / GT Omega prizes for either viewers, not either, for both even, should I say, competitors and viewers. So all details on that will be announced pretty soon. Anyway, jumping into our next bit of news, expert pad in there, babe. GG.
Thank you.
Weepy. Sticking with Nintendo, Matt Wales from Eurogamer reports that the German courts have sided with Nintendo over claims its eShop pre-order practices are illegal, but an appeal is in the works. Once again, written by Matt Wales for Eurogamer. He goes on to say, an attempt by German and Norwegian consumer authorities to declare Nintendo's eShop pre-order practices illegal under European law, and in brackets it goes on to say, Nintendo prevents consumers from cancelling a pre-order once it has been made, has been dismissed with a German court ruling in Nintendo's favour. The Norwegian Consumer Council initially raised concerns over Nintendo's digital sales practices back in February 2018, claiming that the company was in breach of European law. Ordinarily, European consumers have the right to cancel a pre-order at any time before a game's release, but Nintendo insists eShop users waive that right prior to any purchases by ticking a box stating, I consent that Nintendo begins with the performance of its obligations before the cancellation period ends. I acknowledge that I thereby lose my right to cancel. And then there's a quote within the article that says, according to the right of withdrawal laid down in the Consumer Rights Directive, the NCC argued, such terms are illegal. Until the game can be downloaded and launched, the seller cannot prohibit the consumer from cancelling their pre-order. Since then, the Norwegian Consumer Council has joined forces with the German VZBV, which is the Federation of German Consumer Organisations, to bring the case before the Regional Court of Frankfurt. However, just before Christmas, as reported by Norwegian gaming website Pressfire, the court announced its ruling in Nintendo's favour. As Pressfire notes, Nintendo's defence cited a European law stating a consumer's right of withdrawal automatically disappears if the performance has begun with the consumer's prior express consent and his acknowledgement that he thereby loses his right of withdrawal. It further argued that his contract with the user was filled at the time of purchase, as pre-orders immediately receive a preload version of a game, even though that version might not be playable for months. As interpretation, the court ultimately agreed with. Interpretation the court ultimately agreed. Both the German VZBV and Norwegian Consumer Council have appealed the decision, suggesting that because the preload is useless before it unlocks on launch day, delivery cannot be said to have begun. However, it could take up to a year and a half before the appeal passes through the court and a ruling is made. Lots of big words, but thoughts, babe?
Nintendo do a lot right. Like I love Nintendo, the way that they've paved the way with the Switch and things like that. But when it's come down to this, I cannot side with them. How you can pre-order a game and then potentially not want the game anymore, then still take all of the money. It's very strange. If I went to Game, for instance, and I wanted to pre-order a game, I'd have to pay a deposit. If I wanted to pay the upfront thing, fair enough. I'd have to take my receipt back in, and obviously I can get a refund for it, but I'd lose the deposit still. That's the whole point of the deposit. You say you're going to want it. If you don't want it, then you lose your deposit. The way to get around this is to say that you're not going to pay the full balance, and that you're going to be paying a deposit to the full balance, which you'll be debited when the game comes out, if you're going to be doing it digitally. It's a very, very strange thing for them to be able to say. I mean, fair enough, they've got it in black and white. It's not as if they can't... They're trying to fight against it, but it's in the terms and conditions to say you are agreeing to be able to do this. Like, you're paying us the full amount, you're committed to paying the full amount regardless. I can see where Nintendo are coming from. They put that in the terms and conditions. It's for you to read those. If you don't read them, then you kind of got no rights in that respect. Obviously, this is trying to put in something to say that in the future you can waiver this. It's very weird, and I kind of side. I'm believe it or not, I'm on the fence with this one. I think it's up to the consumer to make sure that they read absolutely everything, regardless of how much it is. If it's £5 or £35, it's up to you to read the terms and conditions to make sure that you adhere to their terms of service. You're using their service. It's up for them to be able to give ideas or tell you what you need to do if you're buying this game. But I also think that if you are going to be pre-ordering something, you don't pay the full amount. You should only pay the deposit. If you don't want the game or you don't like where it's going, you have to be committed to losing the deposit.
I think, I mean, I completely agree with the comment that you as a consumer should be reading what you're purchasing. I do think there's a definite case though here, because the Norwegian Consumer Council and the German VZBV, so they've both taken them to court on behalf of consumers. Not necessarily that they are asking for specific consumers to be refunded, but they're saying that their ruling in particular is anti-consumer, because the law says that you as a consumer should be able to have pre-orders refunded, whereas what Nintendo is doing in their contract, yes, it is written out in a contract, but what they're essentially doing is saying, okay, we are the law. So even though there is a law that says that you can, we're saying that you can't. And I know that you're agreeing to that in a contract. If you agree to that, then you've agreed to it. I get that. But the German and Norwegian councils are both saying that it shouldn't be there. They shouldn't, as an ethical company, not only ethical, but as a company that is governed by laws, those laws are there to protect consumer rights.
Yeah.
So the fact that they even have that in there and they're making people sign that is, from their perspective, illegal. They're saying that is against the law. Obviously, the German council, the regional court of Frankfurt, should I say, supported Nintendo's claims that they are being given access to the game. Nintendo said, "Oh well, we technically put a little bit of code on their account that says that the game's there, or they've installed it but they can't play it." But that's technical bullshit for me. I mean, now I'm talking through it. I fully side with the courts there.
Oh, well, I mean, I think it's a 50-50 ground. Like, fair enough, they shouldn't be putting that in there, but they're also giving you the opportunity to be able to do that. Like, you literally, on that screenshot, you have to agree to that before the pre-order button comes. So if you're just agreeing to that without even looking at it, then again, that comes down to the consumer. Fair enough that it shouldn't be there in the first place if it's a rule and it's a law, shall we say. But
I mean, I get what you're saying. I mean, you are signing a contract and you're agreeing to the terms of that. That's not. I don't dispute that whatsoever. I do still think that the fact that it is there in the contract at all, that's the issue. So before we even get to the signing bit, I apologize if you can hear that as well, by the way. I told Bibby that I've set my coffee machine up. I have a coffee machine behind me, which is now currently making me a filtered brew just over there. Yeah. So, yeah, the fact that you have agreed to that and you've seen it and you've clicked it or you've not read it. I mean, if you've not read it, you're a muppet. That's your personal fault. However, taking personal clicks on it or not, or whether you should read it or not, or whether you have opted into it or not, before it gets to that point, if the laws that have been created to protect consumers are being circumvented, then what is the point in that law? If Nintendo can go, okay, we know that law exists, but you waive your right to that law. What is the point in the law? Laws are there to protect society, and if Nintendo can write laws out of their contracts, then Bibby, I know that you're supposed to get paid for working, but your new contract says that you waive the right to be paid, even though the law says that you have to get a minimum wage, that you have to work a set amount of hours and then get breaks and stuff like that. You get no breaks, you get no minimum wage, you get no wage. You just work all the time and do all the things. But there's a thing in the contract that says that you should tick that, and you've ticked it. But then the courts would go, no, actually, it's that's not fair. That's not right. It's well going through that cough machine now. It's like in the background. But the courts, yeah, exactly. Does Judge Nintendo as I am the law? Yeah. But yeah, that's it. Nintendo are taking liberties there, and from the consumer perspective, and from a gamer's perspective, I would fully agree that with the Norwegian and German councils that shouldn't be in there. They have got through that because they've said Nintendo's defense cited European law stating a consumer's right of withdrawal automatically disappears if the performance has begun with the consumer's prior access consent and acknowledgement. So basically, they're saying the performance has started by pre-ordering. They're saying that you've purchased the game in a way that you are actively using the game as well. So they're saying, they're arguing that they're fulfilling the orders at the time of purchase because they receive a preload version of the game, which is bullshit for me. Nobody at all, if you say, okay, give me 50 quid and you can have this game right now. I give you 50 quid and I give you an IOU for a game. We started the proceedings because you have an IOU. You can't do anything with it. You don't have the game. You can't do anything. But you've got it. You know you've got it. I know you've got it. We know you've got it. So it's fine. You'd be like, this is a fucking piece of paper that says IOU one game. This is not the game. I can't play it. There's no Nathan Drake there. That's IOU. What is this? So that doesn't wash with me. It's not right. You haven't started the process. Just because a little bit of a technical giving them the code, that is not the same. And the differentiation for me is you are using technical fact to say that you have a preload. You aren't playing. You can't open the game. You don't play an early access version of the game. If it was early access, yes, because there is no access other than actual install, which is just process. Then no, I'd say that's. I agree with the German and Norwegian councils. Obviously, Frankfurt, in terms of what was it? I did reference it again. The regional courts of Frankfurt side with Nintendo because legalities, but yeah, ethically, I think Nintendo are being shit there. I don't like it. I don't like it.
No, you got to call that shit out when they do a lot of good, but if you are being a bit of a twat, then you got to get called out for it as well. I was kind of playing devil's advocate because they have, as a consumer, you've got to make sure that you read everything. There was a fantastic South Park episode many years ago about the Human Sensi iPad that said if you signed up to something that you'd have to have your face attached to somebody else's ass like the Human Centipede if you was to get like a free iPad or something. But that's because people wasn't reading the terms and conditions. They didn't know that. But yeah, it's one of them things. If you are going to be signing up to stuff, then obviously please make sure that you are reading the T's and C's, especially when there is. I mean, that was one sentence to waive your right to a refund.
Yeah,
it's not that difficult to be able to read.
That's the thing as well. People are thinking, even if I have pre-ordered it, I know that I can get money back by law. And it's like, actually, no, we've just asked you to waive your rights to the law. And it's like, what? You can't waive rights to laws. That's not how it works. But clearly, the Regional Court of Frankfurt thinks it is. I mean, why is there a Regional Court of Frankfurt when Nintendo can just do what they want with the laws? What's the point? I mean, I agree with what you said.
Is that the same on PlayStation, though?
I've
never pre-ordered a game. For me, pre-ordering a game, it has to be physical. I am not pre-ordering a game, especially that far in advance for a PlayStation. Fair enough, I like the fact that if I was to pre-order the game, it'll get preloaded 24 hours before or however many days it is before. But I'm not pre-ordering a game for the sake of a year's time or whatever.
I've never pre-ordered a digital game.
No.
I would potentially do it for pre-order discounts and things like that because you do get some, or not. I do it more for discounts than for pre-order in-game benefits, so like DLC and things like that. because I'm not a fan of pre-ordered stuff like that. I feel it's anti-consumer. Get the game early and get skin that no one else can get. And it's just like you're just forcing me to have the complete experience, even if it is just cosmetic. Mate, I don't like it. But yeah, anyway, that's my personal opinion. I do agree with what you were saying though in terms of Nintendo. They do a lot of good. They do. They are an incredible company in terms of the games, the content, stuff like that. But so many things they are backwards on, particularly stuff like that. That social element. I know that Nintendo, even these days, are still not very up to speed with content creation, and us as Twitch streamers, we could effectively play a game and then get stricken the hell out of by Nintendo and then have to go back because Nintendo still aren't quite there with it, and yeah, it seems like it's the same with their purchasing processes. No, you have our money, we have your money, fuck you. And it's like, no, but you're not really you'll never get their money ever again. That is old school car salesman stuff. It's nah. And the fact that they're pushing it through courts and stuff as well, nah, mate. But anyway, let's stop kicking Nintendo because they're not a bad company altogether. That's a very, very small thing, and it only affects a few people. It is something that I do believe they're wrong. I do believe personally that the Regional Court of Frankfurt has ruled wrong, and I'm not surprised that they're pushing ahead with appeals as well. I would do exactly the same. So, could you see yourself ever pre-ordering digital games? Obviously, we're kind of a niche in the fact that we are old blokes and we like the tactile feeling of having the game and the case and all of the bump that comes with that. But could you see yourself? I mean, I imagine the amount of digital games that you get now is more than you had 5 years ago. I bet you, percentage-wise of new releases, I bet. Although that's probably swayed by the fact that you also work in the industry now and you didn't 5 years ago, so that probably impacts on the number of games that you get digitally as well. But could you see yourself moving towards digital pre-orders?
Never. As a person, fair enough, I do work in the industry now, so quite a lot of the times we are going to be getting codes beforehand to be able to play the games, review, and then obviously give our first impressions, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to wanting a game and pre-ordering, there is... As a collector as well, like I'm also a big collector of video games and memorabilia and shit like that. There is nothing better than having a physical edition of the game. To me, anyway. I'm lazy enough to only want digital, so I don't have to get up again to be able to, eject the disc or whatever. But yeah, for me, I like the fact that if I look to the side, I've got my wall of games. I've got over 500, I think, physical games and about 250 to maybe 300 physical games, including the ones that you get on the Epic Store and Steam and whatever they're deciding to give away. That doesn't take into consideration the ones that Twitch give away every what seems to be day. But yeah, I mean, when it comes down to physical games, when it comes to getting games, I will always get a physical one if I can. And that even if that means that I have to go back to Asda or Game or whatever and do a midnight release and pick it up physically, I'll do that.
What is that noise, says Pirate? Could you hear the coffee machine? Is that what it was? Or was it me stirring my brew? It was some... Oh, I thought I muted the mic. Did it not mute? I swear I did, unless you're just trolling me now. And if you are, then screw you. It was me having my filter coffee that's just been brewed by a machine behind me. I muted the mic so that you didn't get the stirring, but clearly didn't do it well enough.
Imagine Resi was a non-physical only. People would go redder than this already. Yeah. At the time, though, like when Resident Evil 6 and 5 got re-released on the PlayStation, it was only available in digital, which is exactly why I didn't get it at the time. I waited until it came out on physical. Resident Evil 0, I did actually pick up on digital. I haven't got the physical of that. And on PS4, I've got it on Wii and GameCube.
I pre-ordered Red Dead Redemption 2 digitally, says Asim. That was a week before release, just for ease of use. See, that makes sense to me. I like the idea of a pre-order of a physical item. I don't know. It's probably something I need to evolve with, but I'm not so keen on the idea of a pre-order of a digital item. However, that I agree with. Because Red Dead it took me like 3 days, I think, like doing it in installments, like putting one disc in or whatever, going to work, and then doing the next bit, and then like, having to change it or whatever. So yeah.
When was the last time though that you played a game at midnight? Like when a game comes out, because for me, I'm never going to be in that situation again unless I'm off the next day. Because I don't think many games actually come out on a Friday, which is annoying. Games that I want to play anyway, so I don't. I think if it's tell a lie, the last game that came out on a Friday, I think, was Resident Evil 2 last year, the remake, and we ended up streaming it the entire day Friday here. But I don't think there's a time where I can preload a game for me to be able to play it first thing digitally, rather than go to pick it up on the way home from work and just be able to put my disc in and let it install or whatever. So again, for me, that ticks both boxes. I'm gonna have a physical one, and I can just pop it in the PlayStation and play it straight away rather than doing a midnight release. I mean, I would love. It's something that we mentioned this on here again. I would love midnight releases to come back, but it's not. We're not in that generation anymore. There's no people don't need to be queuing outside game for Call of Duty Modern Warfare again.
I just want to mention as well, no games come out on a Friday. I think you'll find that Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts came out on a Friday, actually, mate. Although we probably forget that because shout out to Mr. Asim Tanvir in the chat. We obviously worked on that, so we had it before then, so we didn't have to worry about it coming out then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We were leading up to like 2 months to that, so you know what I mean.
Imagine,
but
I know we've done that one. Unless it's a nice collector's edition or potentially a rare game, I'm going digital these days. Do you know? I kind of see that as well. I'm somewhere between the two. If you ask me what I prefer, I would much prefer to have the idea of being able to. Let me tell you what I would actually do. See if I can find a case. Oh, I've actually got one in the wrapping, which is what I was going to talk about. Let's jump back to me. If I could go digital or physical, I would tell you I would go physical. And I mean, I'll let you draw your own conclusions as to why this game is still in the wrap.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is Metal Gear Survive. And what I always do, see that horrible little cornery bit there? I bite my nails all the time anyway. So what I'm doing is like every time sticking my finger under that bit, trying to get it open, and then it's only as I start to get it open and I pull it down the case, I get to the strip there, the PS4 strip, and I'm thinking, I hit that strip and that stops it, and I have to start faffing to get it, whatever. But yeah, that strip, obviously, you just peel it off. I love the idea of being able to open that open the case up, and ideally have something like one of these here on the shelf, a special edition where you've got some nice artwork, you've got a couple of little extras and stuff. So I think all of that, being grounded in that from a kid from an early age kind of thing, I love the idea of physicals. So like Asim says, something rare, that's the kind of thing that he's talking about. So I love the idea of all of that. That's where my grounding in physical comes. However, the convenience of having something digital, not only that I don't have to get up and change the disc, but I like, in the office I've downloaded PUBG and played it there. In the office I downloaded Modern Warfare Remastered and played it there kind of thing, because I had them digital, and I did those both at the time on a whim. I wouldn't be able to do that if I had a physical copy.
Well, I mean, back in the day, I used to take me, Mike, Willis, Wayne, and a few of the other lads. We used to take days off. Like when FIFA was coming out, it'll come out on say a Tuesday. We'd take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off, and just go to the midnight release, pick up a copy in FIFA, go back and just play pro clubs for like 4 days straight. Like, you ain't peeling us off that, but obviously that isn't the case anymore. They're just do midnight release, and I'm not taking days off to play FIFA anymore. So it's just one of them things. There was it was quality back in the day. It was quality back in my day.
I was kind of the same with Modern Warfare. I technically didn't actually take the days off, but I had a newborn baby, so I effectively took life off for about 3 years then. So it's kind of the same thing. I mean, I still went into work, but I still stayed up stupid hours and played all the things anyway because I had a kid that wouldn't sleep. But yeah, so, aha! Oh dear, survive. Facepalm. I mean, I don't know what you mean. I was just showing you a game that I had in my drawer. No comment. Didn't say anything. I'll let you make your own conclusions from there. Anyway, jumping back into the news, we've got one more piece of news, and it's nice to see. Let me just frame this news for you. It's nice to see other brands in the games industry trying to emulate what Ice Cream Uploads have done. I mean, obviously we've been setting the bar, and it's nice to see small brands on the other side of the Atlantic trying to emulate what we've done. So it's cool. Anyway, 100 Thieves put streamers, streetwear, and esports together in a new HQ, a massive building that could signal the future of entertainment. This is written by The Verge for Andrew Webster. honestly, this was just an article that I picked out because if you've seen the video that went live yesterday, this is, I mean, everyone knows 100 Thieves has been setting the bar for esports and brands in the games industry. Not necessarily esports, but content creation brands more than esports. And yes, they are unique. Not everyone else can use this as something that they can. It's not. I'm distracted by the chat there. This is not something that someone can go, oh, I'm going to copy their mindset. They have transcended. They are bigger than gaming and esports and content creation. They've got into the world of celebrity because of the likes of Ariana Grande, who's massive, by the likes of Drake, who's massive. They work with international celebrities. So yes, what they are doing is a really good example, but it's not a case study that is universally applicable. Anyway, Spike says, I've heard of 100 Thieves, but I have no idea what it's all about. Okay, let me give you a 5-second summary. There's two guys in the picture there, a bald guy and a guy with hair. The guy with hair with no glasses, that's Nate Shot. He used to be a COD pro. Long story short, he decided that he wanted to make his own esports brand, which has then transcended into a content creation brand. He now is partnered with the likes of Drake. They've opened up for multiple rounds of investment, and it's, long story short, a multi-million dollar brand now. They have content creators. They do videos with Ariana and stuff like that. So yeah. Massive. Anyway, jumping into the article. This probably will explain it better than I just did. The collision of esports, content creators, and streetwear now has a physical form with 100 Thieves' newly unveiled headquarters. Today, the company officially opened its new Los Angeles home with an intimidating name, the 100 Thieves Cash App Compound. How's about that for product placement? GG, guys. According to 100 Thieves, the 1,500 square foot building is the largest such 15,000 square foot building is the largest such esports facility in... Yeah, no, I said 1,500, which is like a tenth of what it would have been.
I said 15,400. It's like there's less than this room.
Just sat in a box. It's just Nate shot in a box. But yeah, so according to 100 Thieves, the 15,000 square foot building is the largest such esports facility in the US. But more than that, it's a big bet that the worlds of competitive gaming, social networks, and apparel have a lot to learn from each other. Since its inception in 2017, 100 Thieves, which is founded by former Call of Duty pro Matthew Nadeshot Haag, is co-owned by Drake, has been a hard company to describe. On one hand, it's an esports organisation operating professional teams in games like League of Legends and Fortnite. Under the same umbrella, there are a number of big-name streamers and content creators, including the recent YouTube signees Jack Courage Dunlop and Rachel Valkyrie Hofstetter, as well as a successful apparel business that operates sort of like a gaming influence version of Supreme. Previously, all of these groups were housed in different locations. And then it goes into a quote. We needed a space where we could bring together all of the amazing but very different aspects under one roof, says 100 Thieves president and COO John Robinson. Before, we didn't have a ton of interaction between our esports teams and our apparel group and our content team. And now it's kind of amazing. We'll see some of our apparel designers playing basketball with our esports players out back. And that's exactly what we built this for. The new building is designed to hold every aspect of the business. There are 4 training rooms for the competitive gaming team, streaming pods for Twitch and YouTube stars, a production studio for shooting video and recording podcasts, a design studio for the apparel team, and offices for the more business-oriented aspects of the company. There's even a retail space at the front which will be open for big apparel drops. Fans can not only grab their gear in person instead of trying their luck online, but also get a glimpse into the building itself. The first new gear launch at the store will happen sometime in February. Robinson says the building was designed to encourage a little bit of serendipity with the goal of creating a more inspirational environment. The idea is for people from various The idea is for people from various aspects of the company to interact and come up with new ideas. Our roots are always going to be in gaming, and we want that influence to show up in our apparel, he explains. But it's also a place that will hopefully help professionalise the worlds of competitive gaming and content creation. Both fields are known for putting young talent together in large houses where work and real life bleed together, often resulting in burnout. We wanted to give them actual work-life separation, Robinson says. When they show up at 10 a.m, they're here to get shit done. Look at that, starting at 10 a.m, not none of that 8, 9 a.m. See, content creators does business. So far, the reaction has been very positive from our players and coaches. They feel like they're able to focus more and give their best effort here because they know they're only here for a certain period of time. This is their work period. It's helping the esports industry overall mature by treating these guys like adults. Training facilities are a growing trend in esports. Okay, this is the end of it now. I was going to stop there, but I'll finish the article. Training facilities are a growing trend in esports as the burgeoning industry looks to emulate the world of traditional professional sports. But the Cash App compound is something different, reflecting a growing change in the industry as competitive teams look towards fields like apparel and content to build a more robust and viable business. I think what we're doing is significantly bigger and significantly more innovative, Robertson says of the competition. It's a space that really fits 100 Thieves' vision. The new compound is being officially revealed today, but it's actually being used for some time. The HQ soft launched in December, and over the last few weeks, the competitive teams and content creators have started using the space, putting the high-tech rooms to the test. Robinson says that the mood at the 100 Thieves has changed already as a result. The energy and the vibe of this place every day has been very inspiring. We love it so far. Fuckers. I mean, yeah, good effort, boys. Yeah.
Yeah. That's it's absolutely mustard. I would absolutely love to go to this place just to be able to embrace it all.
Yeah.
Like this, for the sake of 3 years, they've managed to build this. I mean, obviously, eShop was massive before he made 100 Thieves. But to take a brand like this to the next level, not only in the esports world, but as a company that wants to get into all sorts of media, i.e., podcasts and selling gear and things like that. Not gear as in like it's just around the corner selling a bit of meth and that, a bit of spice in Manchester, but actual like proper attire. It's quality. Like I cannot commend this guy enough.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, the only thing. Okay. Yeah, the only thing that bothers me about this article in particular, dodgy hair, apologies, is the fact that it says that they're setting, like, they kind of said that they're setting an example of how esports they're kind of showing people how it would be done. Where was the actual wording that they used? The Cash App compound is something different, reflecting a growing change in the industry as competitive teams look towards fields like apparel and content to build a more viable business. But it's like that is what esports is doing. In summary, that is completely legit in terms of they're looking for ways to look after their players, having these homes where they can engage with fans and communities. As we know, when we went to the esports 50 event at Media City last year, but they also talk about that in the same sort of breath as what 100 Thieves is doing is the same as esports. It's not, because 100 Thieves arguably gets a lot more of its views and its exposure and its reputation from everything it's done outside of esports. So whilst it is relevant in that sort of sense, if G2, which is a huge brand, decided to create a compound and fully install pods and designers and all the stuff in there, then that would just lose the hemorrhage money, I reckon, because they aren't in the same ballpark as 100 Thieves in terms of their size or anything. That said, it's still absolutely 100% something that we should all kind of, I don't know the way to phrase it, be proud of, in terms of, even if you don't like Nade Shot, or you don't like Call of Duty esports as an origin point, or you don't like content creators, whatever you want to say about it, seeing that the games industry has been the starting point for that's something that we should all be kind of proud of for ourselves, in the essence that actually he was just a guy that played games and is now hiring other people that play games in different ways, be it videos, be it merch design, be it content creation, whatever. This huge building in Los Angeles, which is not a cheap place to get any sort of building, never mind a 15-foot, as I said before, 15 square foot. No, I said 1,500. But yeah, even still, a 15,000 square foot building in LA. Good effort. I can understand why China put time limits on gaming when I see things like this. I mean, I love gaming. I would never want to stop. But the idea that my daughter may stop going out and just play games non-stop because she aspires to be part of something like this is concerning. I know that sounds of old fuddy-duddy, but there are already horrible examples of gaming addiction. See, I see where you're coming from, but I do disagree with that in terms of it's just all time management and that real world grounding. My little one has a PS4 in her room and has a fucking faster connection than I do. Because I've just given her a power line adapter, so she effectively plays plugged in, whereas I play the Wi-Fi. Anyway, but she loves the idea of content creation. She she's grown up a bit now, so I think she realizes that I'm not a celebrity. But for a while, she thought I was like some internet celebrity because I have my face on the internet kind of thing. And she wanted to do this and that and the other, but I think it's giving the real world grounding and the backing, the background to who they are, what they're doing, how they got there, what that means. I do see loads of kids going, I want to be Ninja. And that will continue for a while until the next big name comes up or so on. But it's just the same as kids that wanted to be singers, kids that wanted to be dancers, kids that want to be Lewis Hamilton, kids that want to be Beckham, whatever. There's nothing wrong with letting them have them dreams. It's just about how you hold their hand in that. And I think that's where we as parents are kind of want to push them towards having those dreams, but also keep them on the right track as well.
Yeah.
Complexity made a huge HQ and it got 10k views on YouTube. Thieves made one in one day, it's 350,000 views. There's a difference between 100 Thieves and everyone else. Nothing is done without creating multiple avenues of content or revenue from it. Absolutely. And that's the difference. Is you look at the top of that article. What was he called? Is it John? I can't remember his name. The dude that nobody ever remember. John Robinson. That's it. Because he's got the most generic name in the world. But there you go. Yeah. John Robinson and Nade Shot's on the steps. It's not just Nade Shot. It's the fact that Nade realizes, okay, I can be the face of a brand here. I bet he's ingrained in the decisions and he knows what's happening because he's clearly an intelligent man. But I bet a lot of the decisions are made and he's made aware of them, if that makes sense. It's probably undermining him a little bit by saying it that way. I don't mean it in that sort of sense, but I reckon he's ingrained in it. But he also has, like the way that they mentioned in the article, was business orientated parts of the business. I reckon there are those business orientated parts of the business, and in esports, and this is probably a bit unfairly generalizing, you do get a lot of people that are having to wear multiple hats. I'm the merch guy, and I'm also the guy that looks after the team. I'm the team manager. I'm the guy that's sorting this out, and I'm the guy that does all the marketing and stuff like that. Whereas 100 Thieves will have a merch guy. They will have a guy that's in charge of business development. They will have a guy that's in charge of partnerships. They will have a guy that's in charge of finance or whatever. And I think that's the difference as well. I'm a bit 50-50 when it comes to esports. There's no hyphen in esports because I like to play around and to have fun. If I get a good placement, scoring a game, it was just a byproduct. But now every other game is someone playing it as if it's a tryout for a team. I think that's kind of always been a thing, though. I mean, people have always played. Sometimes people. It didn't used to be a case of people trying out for a team. People were trying out to get top of a leaderboard and things like that. So. Yeah, I get your point though. Could say the same about anything though, right? You want to go play Sunday League football for fun. Someone else is trying to get scouted for an academy. Happens with everything, just not esports. He's pretty proud and open about the fact that he brings in people way smarter than for that stuff. So pretty spot on. Yeah, exactly. Spike says it's not about having the dreams. It's also about the health side of things. The kids who wanted to be sports people learn good routines at a young age. Tech in general is making kids less active. It's a very complex discussion issue. I do get what you said, but I think we're in an age now where youth in general have a different childhood because of tech. Once again, I think that's where it's kind of on parents as well. Tech offers many benefits that kids didn't have when they let's oversimplify it. When their only dream was to be a sports person and they had no dreams of tech. Tech now gives different benefits. We just need to make sure that we obviously manage that too, in terms of put your iPad down, go outside and play, kick a ball, have chats with friends and stuff like that. It's difficult, but yeah, it's society as opposed to tech that needs to come round to it. Not so much esports and gaming, but society that needs to develop as well. You can't just say society will stay the same and esports is a bad thing. Esports is a good thing. Society needs to respond to that just as much as esports needs to respond to society. It's a two-way street. Could say the same thing about football or anything else. Yeah, but they do something that increases health. Gaming doesn't if we don't get them out and about. Disagree. Mike Quinn says, hey Scoop, good morning. Esports promotes team building, promotes problem solving and all sorts of other things that people who couldn't get involved with sports do. It's a very, very common misconception that I don't mention it very often. I'm an advisor for the British Esports Association and they do a lot of research on that, and one of the key things around esports in particular is that it has a lot of negatives, but it actually has a lot of positives as well. But yes, I think that's about it for today, isn't it, Bib?
Yes, there was there's a lot to try and take in there because I think this is very. It's a grey area for a lot of people because no matter what people say, there's always going to be a counter argument based on their own opinions. I absolutely adore esports. I love being around it. I love being in it. I love hosting tournaments. There's a reason why we're doing our own invitationals because we absolutely love doing them. We love having people play with us and get involved in stuff like that. I mean, if you're yeah, if you're concerned about what your child's doing, about how much time they're spending in front of a TV or on a console, that's for you as a parent to sort it out. You can't. My childhood would have been completely different from yours, and completely different from your child's, purely because of the generation that we're living in. It's entirely up to you as a parent to make sure that they go out, get exercise, do after school clubs or whatever it is that you want your child to do. You can't force people to go down a route because you don't feel it's your you can't force a child to go down a route because you don't feel it's right. It's for them to explore and get involved in something. If, like, my brother's 13, he thinks he's a Rocket League pro because he can play at a decent level, but there's no way in God's green earth he's going to sit there all day and play. He's got his own mind. He wants to go out and play football as well, so I'll leave that for him. He's his own person. If he wants to grow up and play in esports, that's fair enough. You can go away and you can try and get into it, but you can bet your ass that he's got a gaming life balance where he doesn't spend all the time doing it. But that's because my mum will whip his ass if he decided to spend as much time as he wanted to playing the game.
I remember, just using a personal example, I remember being told that playing video games, it's pretty much the same conversation. The fact that there was video games, not so much content creators and online stuff, but I played a lot of video games growing up. I got told that would be negative to me. I mean, I also had a very active social life. I have a very active social life for video games, but those video games that I played have a direct input into the fact that I'm sat here now on a stream, and I suppose it's a bit of a humble brag, really. I have furthered what, say, my dad did. What he achieved in life. Video games have helped me directly achieve more than he did in his life, which I'm not saying in a way that he did shit, because he was proud of me and I'm glad he was, but yeah.
But yeah, like he just said then, for the record, my girls are smashing it, and Layla Vera plays on the console. Again, it's all down to the parent. It's all down to the child. More importantly, if they've got an artistic direction that wants to go into painting rather than playing video games or whatever, it's up to them. They're going to carve their own path. Like you said there, you may want to guide them, but they don't listen. Exactly. Like if you want to stop a child from playing on the console, you take the pad, you take the power lead. That's for you to be a demanding parent and say, look, you're being a little bastard. Go away. You go do your own work or something. Do you know what I mean? You can't expect kids to make their own decisions all the time. You've got to be a firm parent. Like, it's just the way it is. Eventually, they're going to get to an age of 15, 16, 17 where they're going to be either leaving school to go into college and going into full-time work, or they're just going to be a bum and sit around doing all day because they haven't done well enough. That's life. Do you know what I mean? You can't.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know people that have thrown their lives away because of alcohol, kind of thing, or drugs, or whatever. So there's always going to be potential negatives and stuff. But I've seen some very negative effects from gaming, and I think it's more common to see the negative side when you're not in the industry. The more involved with gaming you are, the more you understand it. I disagree with that. I think it's very common to see perceived negatives effects when you're not in the industry. I think it's very common, or more common, to not see the positives when you're not in the industry as a flip side. So I mean, it's obviously two contrasting opinions. It's probably one that we can't really have as a discussion when you're having to type, because we can make 5 points when you're making 1, kind of thing. So it's probably not. It's probably something that we need to. Do you know what we should have a scoop talk, like breakfast,
a debate,
exactly, a Jerry Springer-esque sort of. This is my final thought. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Well, the thing is, though, I don't know if he's been saying that as we're at the top end of gaming, so to speak. I'm really not. Like, I'm part of maybe the 10%, but I'm most certainly not a part of the 1% that has a very elitist opinion. I've only been in this industry for 18 months, shall we say, at the moment. I'm very much grassroots, working class kind of esports person. I'm not at the top. I will never get to the top level of what you're potentially claiming that I'm going to be. I'm not a parent, but I'm a brother to a brother who's only 13, 14. He's grown up with me in this, shall we say, environment. All he's ever known is knocking around video games, but also he's ever known that he can go out and play football with his mates. My mum would kick his fucking ass if he just sat upstairs and played on his game all day. And that's just the way that's the way that my mum brought me up. That's the way that my mum was bringing him up. It's about balance. If you're not a strong enough parent, I'm not saying it's about you, Spike. I'm just saying in general because that's the way that you're portraying it. If you're not a strong enough parent to give your child a proper education, that you're going to send them to school, you're going to make them do homework, you're going to get their ass home, and you're going to make them do chores around the house, whether or not it's washing up or doing the hall landing the stairs, like I had to do. I had to do that shit when I came home from school. Like quarter past 3, I was still doing that until I moved out when I was 21. I was still cleaning the house for my mum because that's the way that I was brought up. She was a strong enough parent to say, look, you're doing this shit or you're not having anything. My mum cut the plugs off my console when I was younger for being a little bastard.
My
That's
brother
just the way that my mum was.
in the chat then. Don't forget, that time Dad took the plug off the TV because we played Mario Kart for 2 days straight, and I put it back on TV so we could keep playing. Looking back, I think that was a bit much. Nah, it was fine. It was fine. It was good. It was good.
Exactly, but it taught you how to wire a plug, didn't it? But it's just these little small... It's these little small...
I've never thought of it that way.
Yeah, it's like that's what I mean. If your parents are strong enough, they'll enforce a proper upbringing on you for you to be able to make your own mind up, but know that doing something for so long may be detrimental to your health or the way that you think. It's all about having balance, and that brings your parents into it as being a good parent, and also you being someone of a sound mind to be able to go and want to better yourself, but also take time out to enjoy yourself. Do you know what I mean? There's always a balance there.
There you go. There's balance in the chat. My parents took my PS1 away during my GCSE period. Devastated. Lol. Says Next Gen Renegade. Well, there you go. Balance though. It's balance.
Yeah.
Asim had a comment saying, "I've made so many friends for life just because of gaming. If anything brought me out of my shell socially. Oh, and it's also a career now." Spike, in response to that, says, "Same Asim, not the career but the friendships. I'm not saying it's all negative, not by a country mile. Just that it's easy to overlook the negatives too. And like I say, in response to that, it's easy to overlook the positives, which." I've seen firsthand many times. I've had discussions where I'm on, not discussions, debates, official formal debates, where I'm on the chair of the side of esports, talking to people, and people that are giving arguments for the negatives of esports, and it's so easy to overlook the positives that esports. There's a lot of stigma that comes with esports. So yeah, I think it's a coin, both sides of the coin. It's easy to overlook the negatives for certain people, but those certain people, it's so easy to overlook. For other certain people, it's so easy to overlook the positives. So yeah, swings and roundabouts. I think, and that's what I say. It's not just esports and gaming in general. It's society. Just like society had to get used to gambling and being able to gambling ruined lives. People stopped going to work and whatever, so they can go sit in bookies and things like that. And then same with alcohols and whatever. There's people are naturally self-destructive. It's a bit of a shame, but quite a lot of people can be. So that's where society needs to learn to incorporate that.
I could go to the pub after work every single day and like drink myself. Do you know what I mean? It's a mentality thing, and it's the way that you brought up. You learn to take everything into moderation. That goes alcohol. Obviously, don't smoke. I've never smoked in my life. Because I know it's bad for you. It's just taking everything into moderation. And you as a parent need to make sure that your child is adhering to everything that is life. That's education, that's health, that's enjoyment. Most importantly, you need to enjoy yourself. But it can't be too much. I'd love going out on the piss with the lads, but you ain't going to catch me doing it every single week because one, I know it's bad for me. Two, I can't afford it because it's such an expensive hobby. And everything else that goes along with it. I need to get up for a job in the morning.
You got priorities.
Blah, blah, blah.
Because you're grounded as a person,
I'm a family man,
which is where it all comes from. I think that's kind of thing. Anyway, we're an hour and 34 minutes into the scoop, so we're going to wrap things up. But I think that's essentially it. It's all about the grounding. One thing I will say about esports, it's definitely made online gaming more frustrating at times, as many people now want to find enjoyment in winning. Oh, that's just people. That's not esports.
That's tryouts.
Yeah, I mean, I remember playing Street Fighter against couch co-op friends who would just use Ken or Ryu, as I think it's actually pronounced, and crouch and do that kick thing, because you can just, if you get caught in that, you can get 7 or 8 hits with it. Then they'd back off and they'd wait until I approached, and then they'd try to do the same thing again. That's people winning. It's a horrible, horrible way to play the game, but that was when I was 8. So yeah, that's people. Anyway, that is the end of the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much to each and every single one of you that's joined us in the chat. We've had quite a lot of comments today, particularly towards the end. It got interesting. I mean, honestly, we were trying to show off 100 Thieves' new compound, and we got all deep in parental and societal gains or not gains or whatever. But yes, good debates nonetheless. Thank you very much, everyone that's been here. If you are new here, actually one comment I did see but I didn't read out that. I'm going to jump back in. I am a gamer. To limit your children when your main activity for entertainment is video games is weird, but it has to be done, says the Mighty Quint. I wanted to jump on that just because the Mighty Quint came in late, and I did see a comment saying, what, it's finishing? But you got a little bit of content out of us, Quint, because we've overrun. So yes, if you do want to see it back, as was mentioned, you can check the video out. The full video will be on Twitch. Obviously, you can go watch it from the beginning right now. Or we will upload it to YouTube in an hour. As well as that, we will have 4 audio podcasts going live later on today. Connor has just posted the links in there because Pirate's just not up to it today. Yeah. I'm coming for you, Connor. I'm coming for you, he says in the chat. But yes, feel free to hit the follow button if you're new here on Twitch. You will be notified. We'll go live again tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the final scoop of the week. Same again. Monday to Friday next week, as we do every week, 10 a.m. each and every single weekday. A brand new scoop where we go over the best and biggest news from the game industry. But that's not it for today. In about 15 minutes, we will be back live again. Not we, as in me and Bibby, but the royal we in terms of Josie will be... Oh, no, she won't. That was yesterday.
No, you won't. It's Thursday.
Oh God. We won't be back in 15 minutes. Well, we could be. Do you know what? We'll just get Connor down in the studio doing his wrap-up stuff. We'll do that live on Twitch.tv. Yeah. But yeah, thank you very much for the GGs in the chat. Obviously, as I mentioned, video podcast on YouTube, on-demand content will be live in about an hour. Then we will have 4 audio podcasts live on social media later on. See the links in the chat to find out exactly where you can see all of our posts. Anything you would like to add before we wrap up the stream for today, Bib?
Yes, as always, if you do see anything around the video game hemisphere, then do feel free to tag Ice Cream Uploads, as Connor and Pirate are having a command war in our chats live. But you can find them at Ice Cream Uploads across all major outlets. And also, you can include at We've Got Bibinho, which is moi, and at Graham_day. To just notify us to say that, yeah, Bibs, yeah, Graham, I found something that I want you to look at. We'll look at it for you, and we'll give you our thoughts in the very next show.
That's a good point in the chat. Never mind the fact that Connor isn't even subbed.
Oh my God! Use that Twitch Prime, boy.
Shocking behaviour. Anyway, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Have yourselves a very lovely day. I don't believe I will be back tomorrow, but I think Luke will be standing in for me at Jeroen on Twitter, so feel free to include him in the tweets, as Bibby has just told you. But until 10 a.m. tomorrow, have yourselves a very lovely day. And remember, stay fresh.